Okay. Let's see. Are you needing it for stage, Ryan, or are you wanting it just to be right in front of cameras?
I need camera operators. Anyone down there with you?
No, it's just me.
What are you supposed to do with it?
It's just for fun.
No, nobody here.
But yeah, the email said.
As long as we have the right thing.
I'm happy to go wear the mask.
Yeah, she's been. Oh, there's the construction house. She loves.
Pause you guys and they say, here's our factor. You'll come down both sides, sit on both sides, and then we get to leave and you don't. I'm sure. I know somebody said, you shouldn't go on. I said, I'm 61. That was a long time ago.
there's some pins to put it in. And then that's your talk button. I like to put it somewhere kind of. Well, the talk button is somewhere where I can reach.
I just want to give a big thank you to all of my fantastic public relations staff, including Natalie, Dave, and Kim, the best professors in the world, and they've done so much for me.
UVU is a place for everyone, and I love it because anyone with any background, any interest can find a place here and succeed, and I've definitely benefited from that. So thank you, UVU. It's been awesome.
And I would just like to thank my mom and my dad and my loving wife and this little one right here, and for my God and my country, and for, you know, all the things that we have to be grateful for here. So thank you.
So I just want to thank the Student Health Services, all of my professors who've helped me throughout my college education, and especially I want to thank my family and my friends for supporting me throughout this college journey. So, yay!
Yeah! I guess I would love to thank Leandra Hernandez and Maria Blevins and Dave Morin. They've been like pivotal professors in my degree and have taught me a lot. And I'd love to thank the Center for Social Impact for literally changing my life and giving me a purpose and community again.
I just want to thank my families for me everything, and thanks all the professors, especially the Professor Rachel, and thank you my all teammates. Love you guys. Go UVU.
I'd like to say thank you to my mom and my dad and my beloved husband and the rest of my family for supporting me throughout these tough years of being an undergrad, and I'm so happy I can finally graduate and say I'm a true Wolverine.
I just want to thank UVU, my family, my friends, and everyone who supported me through the 8 years it took me for me to get my degree. And I'm so happy it's finally happened, and I'm so grateful for everyone who made it possible.
I just want to thank all my family, especially my husband and my 3 kids, as well as the flexibility of my professors.
I just want to thank my sisters for always supporting me through everything, my amazing grandma for coming to this country, giving me all the opportunities that I have available to me today. And I want to thank the African Diaspora Initiative for making it possible for me to receive scholarships and all the other guidance that I have throughout my time here at UVU.
And I want to thank my husband and my 3 boys. You guys are amazing, and I couldn't have done the last 5 years without you.
I have loved all of my professors at UVU. All of them stand out. They all have real life, real world experiences. It's absolutely incredible what I've learned and been able to take back. I love UVU!
I want to say thank you to these guys for letting me get my homework done. Did you guys let me get my homework done for 2 years?
I want to thank to my wife and my daughter. It's been a long journey, and my wife, it's been there for almost my whole journey. So also to my family in Honduras, I'm excited that they will be here, and to the admissions office and international student services.
I really want to thank my girlfriend and my parents. Without them, I definitely wouldn't have been able to get this degree. So go UVU.
I just want to say thank you, UVU, for always making me feel inclusive. Thank you for making me the first ever to graduate in my family history, so first gen.
I just wanted to say thank you to my family and my friends, and especially my husband, for supporting me through all of the many years I've been here at UVU. And I wanted to say a special thank you to all of the deaf professors here that helped shape my academic adventure. You guys are amazing, and I was so lucky to be part of your program.
the Utah Valley Dance Team for being my inspiration for coming to the school and for providing me with such great friendships and a strong mindset throughout my year.
I just want to thank everyone in the Family Science Department, all the faculty, teachers, staff. I also want to thank everyone in the LGBTQ Student Services Department, M. Brandvold, Bailey Baird, and Karen Deichner for doing what they can to make this space safe for queer students.
Thank you to everyone in the Special Education Department and for letting Hallie come to all my classes, and to Cammie and George and Jennifer.
And I want to give a shout out to my advisor, John McFarlane.
Freaking love UVU. It is the best. I love it.
What he said.
I want to thank my family, mainly my brother, who's my best friend, and he's the reason why I'm here, and also my parents who supported me throughout this journey. Definitely UVU changed me. I am a different person right now, and I am so grateful for that. Go UVU.
And I want to thank all of my friends and family who've always encouraged me and helped me throughout this whole journey. It's been a lot and it's been a ride. Gracias para todo. Te amo y thank you for everything.
I just want to thank my mom, my dad, and my entire family for being there and supportive for me. It's thanks to them that I've been able to make it this far. I love them so much. I hope that one day I could return the favor by making them as proud as I can.
I wanted to just thank my family for their endless support, for my dad for just always being there for me. I want to thank my mom who passed away from COVID a year ago. And I want to thank my siblings and all of my friends that have supported me through this journey.
I would just like to thank my family for helping me through this and for all of my professors and my friends here at UVU. Thanks so much.
I just wanted to thank my mom and my family and friends for this and the celebration.
Woo! Shout out to Cole Sanders, the best professor that we've had at UVU.
Oh yeah. And shout out to our families for getting us here, and shout out to the entire athletic department.
We couldn't have done this without you guys, so mwah,
Thank
we
you.
love you.
Mwah.
I'd like to thank my wife, Melanie, for pushing me to go back to school. I wouldn't be getting this degree without her help.
Thank you, School of the Arts.
Thank you, School of the Arts.
We love the theater program.
Go UVU.
And all of our friends and our professors.
My life is changed forever.
And I want to thank my family so much for supporting me in completing my bachelor's in psychology. And I want to give a special shout out to two professors specifically, Dr. Brett Breton and Matt Draper, for supporting me in all of my research and believing in me and seeing the worth that I have.
And I would just like to thank my family, my friends, and all my professors in my major and my rodeo coach for making this an amazing 4 years, and UVU was amazing to me, and I thank you all.
I am grateful for this degree. It's taken me 10 years, a baby, but I'm happy to finally be here and do it.
I want to thank my parents and my homegirls over here for dealing with me and getting me through my last year of college.
So I want to thank you for my professor and 感谢我的父母能够支持我在这里读书，然后谢谢你们。Go Warring!
I wanted to give a shout out to all of the amazing elementary ed professors at the education department. They have really made this program truly special, and I wouldn't be here without them, so thank you.
I'm so grateful for my friends that I've met along the way and my professors, so yeah.
I love UVU.
Go! Go Wolverines!
I just need to thank my husband Ryan for convincing me that I can do this and not stopping. And of course my family for helping me along the way and encouraging me. And the girls in Girls Who Code for helping me along the way and making me know I'm not alone.
So I want to thank myself for my graduation, for all the hard work that I put myself into, the times I wanted to quit but I didn't, and for persevering through the end.
I would like to thank my friends and family and my partner for supporting me through my degree. I'd like to thank the LGBTQ plus Services Center for making me as a queer person and a non-binary person feel safe on campus.
Thank you to my friends, families, and coaches for getting me where I am today.
The most thing I love about UVU would have to be...
You met your wife.
I met my wife.
I'm really happy to finish this stage in my life. I love UVU and I'm really excited to start a new adventure, and I'm really thankful for everyone that was part of this.
And shout out to all my family science professors who have helped me throughout all the years. And I love UVU because the professors here care about student success, not just in education, but also just for your life.
I just want to say thank you to everyone I've met here at UVU. I've made best friends for life.
I want to say thank you to Lexi. She's getting me through my digital marketing analytics class. Could not do it without her.
I'd like to thank my mom, my family, most importantly my mom, for pushing me and getting me through this. If it wasn't for her, I don't think any of this would be possible. Thank you so much.
I would like to give a huge thank you to UVUSA for the many opportunities that I've had the past few years of being involved. You have helped me grow into the leader that I am today. So go Wolverines!
And I just wanted to say thank you to my wonderful family, to my wife and my son for being so supportive. And I wanted to thank my parents and my siblings as well. And I want to thank my awesome computer engineering instructors. They've always been supportive and encouraging to me.
I would love to thank my family, my parents, Amy and Adam Coford, all of my amazing professors I've had, Jarrell Rosales and Jenny McKenzie, Dwayne Anderson. You guys have been all awesome. I love the program and I've loved everything that I've learned.
I just want to give a shout out to my family and friends and everyone who supported me, especially my 6th grade teacher, Mrs. Parkin, who believed in me and pushed me to read and learn and do everything that I'm able to do today. So, yep, thank you.
I'm just super grateful for this opportunity to be at UVU. I'm really grateful for all my professors, specifically Cami Burton and Georgia Dongo, for all their support and help, and Jennifer Call, just so many supportive people.
Hi family, thank you for everything, You love me, for your support. UVU is a good place for everyone, especially for Latin people. I feel like at home here, and that's it, thank you. I wanted to say thank you to Marcy Henley in criminal justice. She is the best professor I've had, and she's made college so fun, and I really, really appreciate Marcy. And thank you to Teja as well, because she's made life a lot easier in college.
I just want to thank all my exercise science professors that helped me along my way. I want to thank my coaches, Coach Smith. I want to thank Coach Hool for giving me the opportunity to be on the UVU track team. And last, I want to thank my mom for pushing me to be here and always part of my success. And go Wolverines, let's go.
I want to thank a lot of people here at UVU. So Maria Blevins, Leandra Hernandez, the First Generation Student Success Center, the Multicultural Student Center, the LGBTQ plus Student Services, the Center for Social Impact, the Raíces Club, the RCO program, UVU Review. Muchas gracias, UVU.
I would really like to thank, first and foremost, Elohim. I'd want to thank my family and my friends who supported me along this journey.
I'd like to thank my wife, Alexis, for pushing me to do more than I thought I could. And I'd like to thank my professor, Professor Sabi, for being a great capstone professor and pushing me to do more than I thought I could in our research. And also Professor Ballard for giving me the hardest class I've ever had and making me feel smarter than I actually thought I was.
I want to say a special thank you to my wonderful family, my amazing husband, mom, grandparents, Uncle Shane, siblings. Appreciate you, I love you.
I just want to say thank you to all my friends and family who have supported me to get here where I am today. I love UVU because it is a place for traditional and non-traditional first-gen students like me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, UVU, for being such an awesome school and for making my experience here the best. I will miss this school. So, yeah, go UVU.
UVU is a place for dogs.
I want to thank for sure my loving family and friends. You know, everyone has been so supportive throughout this process. It's been crazy, but couldn't have done it without them.
I wanted to thank UVU for the variety of experiences, the incredible programs, and the stellar professors that have all helped me get this far to graduation. Go Wolverines!
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the Utah Valley University graduating class of 2023. gentlemen, the faculty and staff at Utah Valley University. Ladies and gentlemen, the honored platform guests of the 2023 Utah Valley University Commencement. Please welcome Faculty Senate President Hillary Hungerford.
I declare these proceedings for the commencement of 2023 at Utah Valley University to be in session. Please remain standing for the posting of the colors by UVU ROTC Color Guard and the national anthem performed by Dixie Choke. She is graduating tonight with a Bachelor of Music in Commercial Music.
Oh, see, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please welcome the 7th President of Utah Valley University, Astrid S. Tumines.
Thank you. Thank you, and I know you want to be seated, so please be seated. Dixie Choke, thank you for that rendition of the national anthem. Good evening and welcome to this celebration. Congratulations to the class of 2023. We appreciate all those present and welcome those who have joined us for live streaming. It's a pleasure to have all of you with us. We gratefully acknowledge our distinguished guests seated on the platform. Please stand as your names are announced and remain standing. We ask the audience to hold your applause until we have recognized everyone. We welcome our honorary degree recipients, Elaine S. Dalton, Scott C. Keller, R. Duff Thompson, and Brandon Sanderson. Members of the Utah State Board of Higher Ed, Rich Christensen and Steve Starks. We would also like to recognize members of our UVU Board of Trustees, Jill Taylor, Rick Nielsen, Kara North, Paul Thompson, Scott Smith, Sydney Tetro, Jeanette Bennett, Clark Collings, and Student Body President Lexi Soto. We also welcome UVU's vice presidents and other members of the President's Cabinet and deans. UVU's outstanding faculty are represented on the platform tonight by Faculty Senate President Hillary Hungerford, who was just named the Fulbright Scholar and will go to Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia, the second coldest capital in the world. We are grateful for our educators who are dedicated to providing exceptional learning opportunities for our students. We also recognize Danielle Delgadillo, President of the Professional Association of Campus Employees, or PACE. Danielle represents thousands of UVU staff who provide the professional support necessary to achieve the academic mission of this university. Welcome to all of you. You may applaud now. Please be seated. Governor Spencer J. Cox couldn't join us this evening, but he sends his congratulations to our graduates.
President Tuminez, faculty, staff, distinguished graduates, family, and friends, congratulations to the class of 2023. I'm proud to recognize the notable accomplishments that bring you all of the usual assisted during an unusual and unprecedented time. In celebrating this moment, you have proven your dedication to achieving your dreams. This accomplishment also speaks to the strength of the Utah Valley University community and the faculty and staff that have stood by you to help you achieve the title of a college graduate. You are a remarkably diverse group. I am impressed by the different life experiences embodied here this evening and the record number of graduates receiving degrees. The diplomas you have earned mark an ending, but more importantly, they represent a new and exciting beginning. I welcome you as well-prepared graduates into the workforce. Tonight, we celebrate your victories with you as a state. We need you. Utah has the most robust economy in the nation based on job growth, unemployment rate, and our state's gross domestic product, among other key metrics. You bring the skills, passion, and education that will shape our future. We're counting on you as professionals, leaders, and citizens to make your homes, communities, and our state stronger. I am confident that you will find Utah continues to be the best place to work, live, play, and raise a family. It has been my pleasure to watch Utah Valley University grow, get to know your leadership, and observe how your student body succeeds through talent, grit, and sheer tenacity. I have every confidence in your ability to achieve your dreams. I look forward to seeing your next steps as you continue the trajectory of success on your life path. Once again, congratulations, UVU Class of 2023.
The class of 2023 is both mighty in spirit and numbers. Tonight, we celebrate 8,517 students who have earned a total of 9,269 degrees and certificates. Our graduates arrived at UVU from every Utah county, 47 states and territories, and 20 nations. The youngest is just 16 years old, and the oldest is 69 years young. More than 40% of students in the class of 2023 are non-traditional students over the age of 25. Further, 33.6% of those we celebrate tonight are first in their families to attend college. But UVU is not just about the numbers. We celebrate individuals, every student here in their green gown tonight. We share an invitation to all students to come as they are, from wherever they are, and to bring their dreams. As we say, there's a place for you at UVU. As an open admissions university, UVU opens the door for anyone to be transformed through education. And tonight, graduates, you take your next important step. Class of 2023, we know that there have been people beside you throughout this journey, and also maybe dogs beside you, supporting and encouraging you and eagerly awaiting the life ahead of you. Graduates, please take this moment to recognize your partners, families, friends, and the faculty and staff who have championed your efforts and helped you succeed. If you look around campus, you will see signs that read, exceptional care, exceptional accountability, and exceptional results. These are our values. We care about you, our students. We take your future seriously. We want each of you to find success however you define or measure it. We celebrate your unique talents, gifts, and spirit, and appreciate your contribution to the tightly woven and very green tapestry that makes UVU remarkable. Now let's take a moment to reflect on the experiences we have shared and what it means to be a proud Wolverine. We hope your memories and the friendships you forged at Utah Valley University will be lasting, and you will remember you are always welcome here. You will forever be a Wolverine. It is now my pleasure to introduce Utah Valley University's 2023 valedictorians who are seated in the front row. Please rise. These students have distinguished themselves through exceptional academic achievement and were selected to represent the university's colleges and schools. which may name a valedictorian at the baccalaureate or associate degree level or both. You will find more information about these extraordinary individuals in your programs. Please join me in another round of applause for this very impressive group. You may sit down. May we now have all of our students graduating cum laude stand and be recognized. Cum laude. Congratulations to all of you on your outstanding academic achievements. We are so proud of you. Utah Valley University Student Body President Lexi Soto is an exceptionally talented student. I've had the pleasure of working with Lexi this year. She is passionate and she's a dedicated leader. During her term, she successfully connected student government with organizations on campus and worked to make transferring to UVU from other institutions more seamless. We love transfers. We congratulate her on a job well done as she offers her final remarks to you, the class of 2023. Lexi.
Oh my goodness, congratulations graduates! Oh my goodness. I just admire your guys' perseverance and your dedication. It's been an honor to serve you as your student body president, and I feel so privileged to share this platform with president and many honorary degree recipients. Mr. Sanderson, I can't feel, but I feel a little envious. I mean, you're speaking, I'm speaking, but I have to wait one more year for my degree. That feels a little unfair. Even though I'm not as lucky as you all to graduate today, I'm still very excited for you. Whenever people tell me they're graduating or a senior, I always thank them. I thank them for being a light at the end of the tunnel, for reassuring me that it can be done. So thank you all for being a light for me and for all of campus. Everyone, even students that have a long way to go, we all feel the buzz and excitement of graduation. Getting to where you are now takes so much work, and getting to the next big milestone in your life is going to take even more. Now, I know we've all had a long day and we're all brain fried from finals, but I want you to take time to think. Think back to when you first started college. Think back 4 years, 10 years, maybe even 30 years ago. Maybe you were at a different college, a different school, or a different state, or even a different country. Who were you when you started? Because I'm willing to bet you're a different person now. Change is necessary. It's hard, it's scary, sometimes you change for the better, sometimes you change for the worse, and you have to make yourself better again, and that's okay. I remember being a high school senior, losing my college savings due to COVID, and wondering, how can I keep going to school? I'm a fairly traditional student, and yet I almost slipped through the cracks. I remember looking at my friends and seeing that they were okay with putting their lives on pause, and for some reason, I didn't want to do that. I talked to my neighbor, Lisa Burnson, about my fear of not being able to go to school since I didn't get any scholarships and the help I had planned on was non-existent due to the pandemic. She guided me to people at UVU who might be a lifeline for me. But after a month of back and forth communication, there was still no hope. And at that point, I accepted that college was going to have to wait. But then I got a message from Jim DeMary, a UVU faculty member who I'd been working with, and he said an anonymous donor had offered to pay for my first semester of school. I cannot tell you what a blessing that was. Without that donor, I wouldn't be up here, and I wouldn't be on the path to where you guys are right now. I tell this story to remind you to thank the people that got you here. Thanks and gratitude are the most heartfelt gifts that we can give to each other. Thank your family, or the people that feel like family. Thank professors, faculty, staff for being encouraging or inspiring. And most importantly, we have to express gratitude for ourselves, for persevering through challenges. We have to acknowledge our hard work, dedication, our commitment to education and growth. So tonight, I want to particularly acknowledge and congratulate the people that got here today by themselves. My highest praise goes to our first-generation students. My dad was first gen, his parents were from Mexico, and the only person encouraging him to go to college was his high school math teacher. I thank him all the time for pursuing higher education and working hard back then. Now, I know most of you aren't thinking about your future kids right now, but the future entails a lot. And this choice right now affects your life in so many ways you don't even know yet, and you won't know for a while. But don't let the unknown scare you from moving forward. There are so many people and experiences that'll help you throughout your life and this next phase of your life. So I want to remind you all that UVU is so excited for you. And as you leave UVU and venture out into the world, remember the lessons you've learned here, people that helped you get here along the way. Embrace change with open hearts and open minds, and continue to evolve as individuals. I wish you all the best in your future endeavors and encourage you to pursue your passions with courage, conviction, with the same tenacity that got you here tonight. So as your last time as student body president, go Wolverines!
Thank you, Lexi. Let's give her one more round of applause. I am now pleased to invite Jill Taylor, first Vice Chair of the University's Board of Trustees, to confer our honorary degrees.
Well, let me add my congratulations to all of the graduates. It is such an honor to be the first Vice Chair of the Board of Trustees at Utah Valley University, because it lets me see up close and personal how UVU changes lives. Students, we are so impressed with your commitment, your tenacity, your intelligence, and your innovation. It is a remarkable and humbling experience to share this pinnacle moment with you. We are so proud of you and so proud of all of your accomplishments. Each year, on this special occasion, Utah Valley University confers honorary doctoral degrees upon men and women whose service to society is of such high order and significance as to warrant this acknowledgement, the highest honor bestowed by this university. On behalf of the university's Board of Trustees, we are pleased to introduce the individuals who have earned this prestigious recognition. Trustee Jeanette Bennett will present our first candidate, Elaine S. Dalton.
May I add my congratulations to our graduates. It is so wonderful to share this special occasion with all of you. Our first honorary degree recipient this evening is Elaine S. Dalton. Elaine has exhibited tremendous dedication to Utah Valley University as a two-term member of the UVU Board of Trustees, including time as the chair of the board. Elaine is dedicated to providing opportunities to all and has had a notable impact on the graduation of female students, partly through her influence on the UVU Women's Success Center. She's the author of 3 books for women and young women and is well known for her service to women worldwide through her faith organization.
My education has influenced my life, actually changed my life, because I don't believe there has been a day in my life that I have not used my education. And for many years, I was a stay-at-home mother. We had 6 children. But I am so grateful that I got the education that I did. And my mother was actually the catalyst for that. She was the first generation in her family to receive a college education. And she insisted that we do that. And I'm just eternally grateful for my mother's insistence on getting all the education that I could. When I was on the Board of Trustees, President Holland was the president when I first started, and he gave me a charge, and my charge was to get around to as many young women on campus and help them understand it's important to begin, but it's more important to finish. And so I got involved with the Women's Success Center because I think UVU is unique in the way they help women. They have a We Care Center, so the women can drop their children off to go to class and get an education. And the Women's Success Center counsels, they give scholarships, they just do so much good. And so That was an important little piece of my service at UVU and one I will always cherish.
What UVU aspires to do is create citizens of impact, people who go out and adopt ideals higher than themselves and lift their community and their families to higher places. I don't know if there's anyone in our community who better exemplifies that end result. Start wherever you are. You want to end up standing next to Elaine Dalton.
Elaine saw the potential at Utah Valley University early on and was a promoter for the growth and health of that institution. She saw it as another avenue for people to get an education. She feels strongly about the influence and power of an educated woman in the home. She knows that it makes all the difference in the world.
She has truly committed her life to serving others. And for her to get this honorary degree at this time, I think it is just a recognition of what she has done all of her life.
Green is my color. I have never been in an educational setting that is more innovative and more concerned about individual success and having experiential learning so that you actually know you're qualified for something when you finish your schooling. UVU is where I tell everyone to go now.
Will Elaine S. Dalton please rise? And will President Tuminez and Dr. Cheryl Hanowitz, Dean of the College of Health and Public Service, please escort her to the podium? In consideration of your extraordinary dedication to Utah Valley University and your service as a member of the Board of Trustees, and whereas you have provided service to the broader community, enhancing and promoting education at all levels, and have been a champion of young women, encouraging them to pursue their dreams and providing a path for them to do so. With the approval of its Board of Trustees, we present you, Elaine S. Dalton, with the Honorary Doctorate of Public Service on this 4th day of May, 2023.
Congratulations, Dr. Dalton. That has such a good ring to it. It is now my honor to introduce someone who has dedicated his life to making this institution, state, and nation stronger. Scott C. Keller serves on the National Advisory Board for UVU's School of Business. He has also generously given his time to many nonprofit and public service organizations. Scott is the CEO of Keller Investment Properties in Centerville, Utah, and chairman of the Bronze Buffalo Club Companies, which includes Teton Springs Golf Club and Resort. He understands Wolverine grit and tenacity. His career began as a whitewater river guide, navigating all the major rivers here in the West. 2 words learned during that time changed the trajectory of his life. Obligate yourself.
One of my favorite quotes is by Winston Churchill. To every man there comes in his lifetime that special moment when he is figuratively tapped on the shoulder and offered a chance to do a very special thing. Unique to him, fitted to his own talents. What a tragedy that moment would find him in if he were unprepared or unqualified for that which could be his finest hour. Proper planning prevents poor performance. As we prepare ourselves academically, athletically, in all aspects of our life, it will determine our future. Of course, my attachment here is Wolverine Crossing and 5 children that went here and either graduated or attended at some point. And I can't help but feel a bond and a desire to help provide the pole, not just the fish, for others to take advantage of and to prosper in their own lives, whether it be academically or professionally or socially or whatever that may be. It's been a real blessing for my family. You can define ROI, return on investment, in many different ways. Though this may not be a monetary return, but it is a return in many, many other wonderful ways, and truly has blessed our life for the opportunity.
Scott has been amazing for the Utah community, and communities like this don't run without leaders like Scott Keller. I've seen so many things he's done that he would never want publicized, would never want to talk about, to things like the business building. And we have to have those things. This is the Utah way, right? Are people like Scott Keller, leaders who are out there putting themselves in leadership positions to give back to communities. And I've seen what his orbit does. It brings people into it. It helps people want to give to the same initiatives. And Utah would not be the same, nor would Utah Valley University, without the impact of Scott Keller.
He's got a huge heart. And I don't want you to use this against him, but he can't say no. He grew up in very challenging circumstances. In hard times, he was forced to work hard. And he needed to work hard, and he did. And now he wants everything he's involved with to be great and do great and provide greatness for everything and everybody.
Scott gains energy when it's hard. It's really fun to watch. When other people start to flag because it's just not going to be fun anymore, Scott kind of gets a bigger smile and gets more energy. And so those A-plus problems that doom companies and causes, that's the time when you want Scott on your team, because he does things that 99.9% of the rest of us just can't or won't do.
My advice to these students that are graduating and moving on would be to consider how they might prepare for themselves for whatever the opportunity may be, that they will be prepared for that moment that might define them for the rest of their life, and to make the right decision to do so.
Will Scott C. Keller please rise, and will President Jimenez and Dr. Robert D. Allen, Dean of the Woodbury School of Business, please escort him to the platform. In consideration of your service to Utah Valley University as a National Advisory Board member for the Woodbury School of Business, and whereas you have given freely of your time and resources to elevate this institution through service and generosity, and in recognition of your vision to provide opportunities for success to aspiring business leaders, and whereas you are committed to community service, a defender of democracy, and an advocate for the education and advancement of individuals, with the approval of the Board of Trustees, we present you, Scott C. Keller, with the Honorary Doctorate of Business on this 4th day of May, 2023. Congratulations, Dr. Keller. Trustee Scott Smith will now present our next honorary degree candidate.
UVU graduates, the answer is yes, okay? UVU graduates? No, a little better. UVU graduates? Congratulations, congratulations. You are remarkable. We just can't say enough about how proud we are of you and of your families and all of those that have contributed to you. It is my pleasure to announce the award of an honorary doctorate degree this evening to R. Duff Thompson. Like thousands of you, Duff was the first in his family to graduate from college. Understanding the value of education and how it transforms lives, Duff served 2 terms on the UVU Board of Trustees. His 8 years of service included time as vice chair and then chairman of the board. He is the managing general partner of SNet Limited, a Utah-based private equity firm. Duff has also served on multiple philanthropic and corporate boards, including chairman of the board at Qualtrics. You can often find him cheering for our athletic teams. Duff is a proud, proud Wolverine.
Introduced to UVU years ago when my partner Dan Campbell was on their board. Had an opportunity to become a member of the board and thought that would be a wonderful opportunity. The perception of the community around UVU over the past decade is just a remarkable thing to have witnessed. And then to see the actual function of the university go from being a community college to a small university to a really ready for prime time university with outstanding programs in just about every field, to becoming a school that people prefer to. This is their first choice. This isn't their safety school. This is where they choose to come for a lot of good reasons, and that has been a wonderful experience.
Duff is one of the smartest humans I know, and for me, he's the type of person that I want to be like. You don't know many people who have been successful in tech, successful in academia, successful in real estate. We call him Grandpa Duff because we just feel like we're part of the family. And I think everyone who knows Duff feels that way. You know, in business and with Qualtrics, he was always our first phone call. Whenever we had something come up, he's that first phone call. He's been through it all, and if he hasn't, like, the wisdom of how he thinks through it is pretty special.
I've had the privilege of watching Duff's engagement with the school for over a decade here, from the trustee to the biggest advocate to leading the search process for the new president to every decision from building on through that he's been associated with. The accreditations of the school to the full university. He has just been one of the greatest advocates of the organization, both publicly and privately.
I think Duff's legacy is one of showing hard work, commitment. I think when he takes on some of the projects he's taking on, he's not thinking about what is his legacy. He's thinking about what is the legacy of UVU. This place will continue to grow. He's a Wolverine now, and so go Wolverines. But he champions that, and he lives it in his life. He sees things that others may not. I mean, he has the ability to see the vision of what could happen to UVU over an extended period of time. So he's trying to build for something that's 50 years down the road, not for something that's next year.
I'm surprised it's taken this long to recognize this type of person who is not just a great citizen for UVU or for Utah, or indeed for the United States. I think this is the sort of person who really is the embodiment of what a great citizen looks like. And dare I say it, I fear that we're living in a world where it's become harder to find these sorts of examples. But as a community leader, a business leader, a family man, and as I said, really an international, global citizen beyond just the shores of UVU. I think this is really a wonderful day to recognize such a sort of paradigm of citizenry.
UVU is going to become an even more important component of this community and this state and this region. The come as you are philosophy in higher education is absolutely game-changing and attracts some of the people who are not your typical college-bound student, but who will make the greatest contributions in their community. And I mean that sincerely. I believe there is a wealth of talent and potential that was simply not being tapped until a place like UVU became recognized for what it is. So, all in on UVU.
Will R. Duff Thompson please rise? And will President Taminas and Dr. Robert D. Allen, Dean of the Woodbury School of Business, please escort him to the podium. In consideration of your extraordinary dedication to Utah Valley University and your service as a chair of the Board of Trustees, and whereas you have given of your time and resources to ensure the success of all students, in particular care for those in need of additional encouragement and support, and because of your service to our community as a whole, and as a strong supporter of UVU's growth and success, with the approval of the Board of Trustees, we present you, R. Duff Thompson, with the Honorary Doctorate of Business this day. May the 4th be with you.
Congratulations to my good friend, Dr. Thompson. So exciting. It is now my pleasure to introduce Second Vice Chair Rick Nielsen, who will present our final honorary degree.
Good evening, Wolverines. It is marvelous to see you today. You look absolutely terrific in this sea of green. I see a force for good. You are positioned to make positive changes in our world, and congratulations. I'm honored and excited to announce our final honorary degree award recipient this evening, Brandon Sanderson. Brandon is the author of more than 70 fantasy novels and has been on the New York Times bestseller list 19 times. He is perhaps best known for his fictional universe, the Cosmere, which is the setting for most of his books. Brandon resides in Utah and gives back to the community through his foundation and through teaching and mentoring other aspiring writers.
I'm unlike a lot of authors in that when I was young, I did not like to read. The big transformation for me happened when I was 14. I had a fantastic teacher. She had this big rack of ratty paperbacks, you know. She said, pick one of these. And I landed on a book called Dragonsbane, which was an epic fantasy, which is a bit bigger than I had tried reading in the past. I had read a little bit of fantasy, but I'd never really known it was a genre. And so this is the book that worked for me. Sometime after, I really got into fantasy novels. So I read that book, Dragonsbane. I went to the library and I'm like, there's gotta be more books about dragons. So the old card catalogs, which we used to have, these archaic things, you know, that the cavemen used, where I would flip through and I just found the next card in line. It was a book by Anne McCaffrey, who is one of the great fantasy writers of all time. I really felt like I had found myself in books. I realized I want to try this. I've got to try this. I need to start writing my own stories. Maybe I was 16, maybe I was 15, maybe I was 17. Somewhere in there, I started sitting down and writing. I'd never felt this feeling in my life that you probably have felt it yourself. The moment where you get into something so much that hours can pass and you have no idea that they have, and you get done, you're like fulfilled, and it was hard but exciting. I'd never had that experience before, and I had it when I worked on that book. And working on that book as a teenager is still one of the most memorable experiences of my youth. That emotion of being there in that world.
I call Brandon a kind person because he goes out of his way to lift other people up. He is ambitious. We'll throw creative in there as well because he's an author, but really he is someone who has absolutely massive dreams and tries to involve as many other people in those dreams as he can.
Brandon is kind of an interesting mix. He's kind of an artist and a businessman at the same time. He's kind of a logical person, but also a very caring person at the same time. I think the biggest thing that makes him unique is his imagination. I don't know where he comes up with this stuff, but he's trained himself to take in all of this input and then twist it in a way that he can create these stories that really speak to people.
Brandon is a good example to the graduates this year because he knows what he wants and he puts in the work to chase it down.
He's not just a good writer, but he is a scholar of his craft and, science fiction, fantasy, and literature in general. And so I think that he's very deserving of that honorary degree.
I will have some advice for you. This is coming up. I hope it will be good advice. Understanding that there's only so much you can do, and understanding that you need to be able to do that while maintaining an enjoyment of life and what you're doing with it is really important. Find a way that you can live your life now, not your life, not imagine how great your life's going to be in the future.
Will Brandon Sanderson please rise, and will President Tuminez and Dr. Stephen Clark, Dean of the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, please escort him to the podium. In consideration of your exemplary dedication to the support of a balanced university education, and whereas you have given of your time and resources to ensure the success of budding writers, and whereas you thoughtfully represent the very real struggles of humanity through your fantasy fiction to cultivate empathy and understanding, and whereas you give generously for the betterment of those with less opportunity, we present Brandon Sanderson with the Honorary Doctorate of Letters on this 4th day of May, 2023.
Congratulations to all of our honorary degree recipients. We appreciate the tremendous role models you are for the class of 2023. We will now be honored to hear from Dr. Brandon Sanderson as our keynote speaker. Let the magic begin.
Thank you, President Tuminez. I got it right this time. Wow, and thank you to all of you. I bet you thought I was going to make the Star Wars joke, but we already been there. Look at you. My job, in part, is to look to the future, but I think I'm looking at it right now. So in the winter of 1999, I walked into what would become the single most important class of my college career. After renouncing chemistry as a sophomore, I'd taken the dramatic step of becoming a creative writer. I was now a senior, staring down the inevitable question that haunts every artist as they approach graduation. What now? I'd already worked my way through every creative writing class at the university, from introductory 200-level theory classes all the way to advanced 500-level graduate classes. They let me take those, even though I was an undergraduate. I talked my way in. They taught me about theme and voice and narrative. However, none of them had answered this question. What now? How on earth did I make the transition from bright-eyed, aspiring student to confident professional? I suspect some of you have asked yourselves this same question recently, though I hope you settled on an answer. Asking it on graduation day is a little like wondering if you should learn to swim while the boat is already sinking. Regardless, in the winter of 1999, I heard of a new class in the department, a basic 200-level writing class, something that should have been beneath my current writing skill. But there was one difference. This class was being taught by Dave Wolverton, a professional novelist. It provided a chance for me to hear from someone who was living the what now. That class changed my life. Where I'd heard theory from other professors, from Dave, I learned application. Instead of platitudes about finding your voice or experimenting with style, Dave taught me practical things I could do, plot structures, engaging characters. Most importantly, Dave sat me down and outlined an actual plan for me getting published. That summer, I traveled to a convention he advised I attend. I met the man who would become my agent at that convention. A year later, I went to a different conference Dave had also told me to attend, and I used his strategies for meeting and talking to people. I met a newer editor from a place called Tor Books, and that editor went on to buy my novel Elantris. I literally have a career because at the end of my degree, I finally got some good, practical advice. And so today, I'd like to talk to you the same way Dave talked to me. You've heard, I'm sure, a lot of excellent advice on how to be successful and happy going forward. But I suspect a great deal of that advice has been kind of theoretical. Aphorisms like chase your dreams or try new things. Or maybe even something a little more writerly like journey before destination. Those of you familiar with my work might recognize that phrase, journey before destination. It's one of the foundational tenets of my life. It's also the title of my speech today, because for many of you, graduation is the destination you've been hunting for years. I began to think about this philosophy, which I certainly did not originate, while I was in my own schooling. You see, during some of those early years, I found a pernicious voice in the back of my mind, one that was always pushing me to look 3 steps ahead and think how great things would be when I got there. Surely, after I graduated, then life would be grand. But no, then I'd probably need to finish graduate school, and then life could begin. But no, I needed to get published. If you can't read this, the first one is, oh, I wish it were colder. Next one's like, I wish it were warmer. And then he stands there for a moment and he's like, I wish I was happy. It wouldn't stop there, though. Even before I ever submitted a book, I felt I would only be a real author if I were able to go full-time. So that could be my next goal. And after getting published, well, could I hit the bestseller list? Thinking it over as a youth, I thought that surely once all that happened, then life could begin. Then I could relax and coast for a while. Those who know me might be smiling because relaxing and coasting aren't exactly things I'm good at doing. And even as a young student, I realized there was a danger in this kind of thinking. There's an instinct in many of us to dream of our next phase of life and assume that will be the one where we can settle down, get it together, and finally be happy. Don't fall into this trap. To combat this, I began telling myself to focus on the trip. I thought of it so often that it became a central theme of my most popular work, journey before destination. Yet even saying that to you, I worry it's one of those easy phrases to quote, like a professor telling me to find my voice instead of offering me a roadmap to publication. I promised you some practical advice, things you can do right now to enjoy the journey. So I have 3 bits of advice for you, nuggets of, I hope, practical application. To delve into our first point, let me tell you about my son Oliver. So, I'm the proud father of 3 boys, the youngest of whom is now 10. Back when he was 4, I remember walking up the steps to find him alone in the kitchen playing with his cars at the kitchen table. Because he didn't see me, I hovered in the background watching. And there's a certain delight that comes from watching your children play alone, right? Indeed, at least with my rambunctious boys, it's kind of a miracle to happen on one of them that isn't screaming, complaining, or destroying something. Oliver was instead driving his cars through some kinetic sand, lining them all up in rows, then driving to the other side of the table. It was a beautiful moment. Perfect, distilled childhood. So sweet and innocent. So pure for its enjoyment of the simple wonders of life. And then, Oliver got his cars in a row, sat back, and in a loud 4-year-old voice said to the completely empty room, "Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video." He wasn't recording or anything. He just watched so many YouTube videos that he thought that was how you ended your playtime. It's a pretty good story, isn't it? It's probably one of my best, at least one of the best I can share in mixed company. Those of you with little kids will know. Thing is, there have been dozens of moments like that with my children, and I've forgotten a lot of them. Why do I remember this one? It's because I wrote it down. So, if you're not surprised, my first piece of practical advice is to write. Write down for yourself the bits of your life that bring you joy. The beautiful moments, yes, and the dramatic ones, but more the quirky, unexpected turns that make this current chapter of your life that you're living right now worth rereading. It's no secret that writing an idea down cements it in our minds. Even a quick jotted note, half-heartedly made, can make us 50% more likely to remember something. If you want to avoid the trap of tunnel vision, if you fear that you're focusing on future happiness instead of ensuring current happiness, you need to be active. You need to not be moving so quickly that you stop paying attention to the beauty of the now. And you need to identify those things that bring you joy. I run a writers group that meets every Friday. We meet at my house, and I provide the treats. It's been meeting for like 20 plus years. You saw Dan earlier. He's been in it for most of that time. We submit writing we've done, and then we let everyone offer criticism. 2 central ideas of improving any skill are feedback and self-reflection. You need to identify problems before you can fix them. We all know this. And likely, we've implemented it in various ways. But do we do the same thing for the things that are working in our lives? Do we take the time to identify them so they can be preserved or even better enhanced? In my writing group, we always make sure to acknowledge what is wonderful about a piece, not just what is broken. It's vital that an author learn what people love about their writing so they can nurture those seeds. I advise you to do the same in life. Look for what is working, identify it, build it up, write it down, because joy, like people, is magnified when it is noticed. For point 2, I want to talk a little about work and life balance. I'm known for my productivity and presumably for my work ethic. The truth is, however, my productivity is less about how much I work and how well I maintain my life. It's due to making certain that I don't burn out. It's hard to be a famous writer if you work yourself so hard you end up hating writing. Howard's a smart man. Life is demanding, and your jobs will likely consume as much of you as you will let. So, I say again, have a plan. In other words, don't make yourself into a buffet. Instead, have a carefully cultivated menu. Some of you will be heading to demanding careers or graduate programs. Don't let these work you so hard that you burn out on the very things you love. Balance is key. The data is conclusive. Workplace stress is the highest it's ever been, and it's getting worse. The pandemic is certainly part of this, but if it were all, then we'd expect stress to be going down as the pandemic eases. Multiple polls say it's not. If you can't read this one, this is the percentage of the population with severe anxiety, and it's by year. You can't read quite at the bottom, but it ends right before COVID, right? This graph. That's the most recent data I could find. It's kind of scary, isn't it? This next one is talking about age groups and how much stress and their stress level. And if you can see, the top line is Gen Z and millennials, and the bottom line is everybody else, right? You felt this. I think about this with my 3 boys that I told stories about. We are headed toward the most stressful period in our nation's history. I thought a lot about any advice I could give you to counter this. In the end, I landed on something simple. I feel the most important way to have a balance in life is to maintain a good support structure. Healthy, strong relationships with friends and family. In college, I did a side study into psychology and the nature of the human mind. And one of the most remarkable but unsurprising factors that affects human well-being is their connection to others. Indeed, if you want to deal with stress, the American Psychological Association recommends that you maintain a good support structure, the number one thing you can do. Unfortunately, I have some dire news. In graduating, you here are about to enter one of the most dangerous periods of potential loneliness in your lives. Statistically, graduation from school is the time when people are most likely to lose friends. And worse, it tends to coincide with other factors such as creating isolation or moving to a new area, which exacerbates that. By the numbers, a good percentage of you in this room are about to lose much of your support structure. Even if you and your friends all remain in the same place, you're probably going to start drifting apart. Some of you might have experienced this already in going to college or when getting married or other major life events. Changes and major life changes can be disastrous for that very life, no matter how happy the event. And I hope you're happy today. Don't get me wrong. You should absolutely be happy and proud today. To enjoy the journey fully, though, study after study says introverts and extroverts alike need to be on that journey with other people. So right now, you should be making an active plan. This might seem a simple thing, but just as a missing bolt can collapse an entire bridge, a missing friend can spiral a life. So, my practical bit of advice number 2, if you want to stay in touch with your friends, come up with a recurring event where you can see them. As I mentioned earlier, I meet every Friday with my college friends in writing group. We've been meeting in one form or another for almost 25 years now, and partially, it's an excuse for us all to see each other. We started it in college when we didn't necessarily need that, but every year that it's continued, we grow more and more passionate about the community that it creates for ourselves. Half of us are writing professionals, but the other half, the people that write a group, they're just there because they enjoy it. I strongly recommend that you find something regular that you can do to spend time with the people you love, digital or physical. Don't leave this to chance and fortune. Chance and fortune tend to get dragged into the back alley by procrastination and get mugged for every spare moment they have. If you can't read this comic, I love memes. I don't know if you're expecting memes up here in your graduation, but we've got, happy-go-lucky saying, I'm going to spend time with my friends. And we got big buff person with job, and then another big buff person that says job, and then they beat the tar out of the first one. That's going to happen unless you make a plan. For me, this plan involves writing group. For you, it can be a book club, a dinner night, a recurring Smash Brothers contest, or anything you're mildly interested in. The point isn't the event, but the people. Get it on the schedule, and don't let it get crowded out by other needs. Take this advice from someone who is arguably among the top in his field in the world. Work can wait. If you don't maintain connections, you will burn yourself out. And then you will end up both miserable and failing professionally because you're miserable. This goes not just for people, but experiences. When I was in college, I thought all I wanted to do was hide in my room and tell stories. But one of my roommates was a nature photographer. If you've read Mistborn, I named Captain Demo after him. He begged me to go with him on trips to southern Utah. He needed somebody to carry his equipment. He actually called me his lovely assistant. I would be his pack rat. I'm the type of person who feels like I'm roughing it when I go to a hotel where the room service doesn't run all day. You know, it ends in the evening. But on these trips, there wasn't even any room service at all. There wasn't even a hotel. On one of these trips, one of the very first ones, we went to Little Wild Horse Canyon in southern Utah. I didn't grow up in Utah, so this was my first trip to see a slot canyon, a place so cramped I thought I was back in my college dorm room. Micah, my roommate, warned me that we might have to delay because it had been sprinkling rain. I found this laughable. A little rain? This is Utah, a desert. Why would a little rain matter? And then, on our hike, we encountered a boulder as tall as I am, wedged into the center of a canyon, with enough space you could stoop and walk through. I was baffled. How did a boulder like this get into such tight confines? And then Micah explained. A little rain becomes a powerful flood when compressed in the confines of a slot canyon, powerful enough to pick up boulders and wedge them 5 feet in the air. A few years later, I'd write a book called The Way of Kings, making use of these powerful rains and cramped spaces as a major world-building feature. The small rains in your life are the things you're going to do right now to make sure that you have a support structure. That is going to be the flood in your life that is going to carry you along all the way through your life, keep you going, and keep you loving this journey so that you don't burn out. I have enormous thanks for that friend who was determined to drag me out of my room, into the sunlight, and away from my computer, so that eventually I had something to write about. These days, I still don't like leaving my computer. My wife can attest to this. But I always schedule and make time for events and people, because if I don't, it won't happen. And we'll all be poorer for that fact. Last point. I know it's been kind of long. I know it's been a long day. I'm sorry. I thought about making my remarks short, but then you guys have seen my novels, right? You weren't expecting something short. But this is the last point. You are all planners. Some of you might not think it, but you're here in this room. It means you're someone who takes thought for what will come. You're capable of spending a great deal of time and effort to improve your future self, and that is commendable. We're here to laud your accomplishment, and I do so. I wonder, though, if you've spent your college years feeling a little like I did, like you're in a constant state of transition, that nothing is ever permanent. I worry this sense might persist. Some of you have jobs, but data on these jobs these days indicates that 4 years is a long time to be in any one place. Beyond that, some of you will be heading for graduate or professional degrees. Others are moving to new places, traveling, or doing some kind of other transitional activity. As I said earlier, it's easy to always feel like you're between one goal and the next, never arriving. There we go. This one's a joke about Zeno's paradox, which I love. He says you can never get anywhere because to get there, you have to go halfway there. And to get from the space halfway to the end point, you have to go another halfway, and you have to keep getting that so you'll never arrive. So the English major says, thank you, Zeno. It means I don't have to get up in the morning because motion is elusive. The math majors are saying calculus solved that, but I'm an English major. No calculus for me. I have a friend who put on a few extra pounds recently. Nothing huge, but enough to make her clothing tighter. She was always uncomfortable, but as she explained to me, weight loss was taking longer than she anticipated. And as a fellow who could stand to lose a few pounds, I empathized. I was surprised then when she came to me with a revelation. She had finally decided to buy new clothing and said that had changed her life. Losing weight was harder when she was miserable and felt terrible, and it became easier once she made herself comfortable. She'd avoided this step because it felt like admitting defeat, but in reality, it helped her lose weight. The notion of not deserving to feel good is part of what had held her back. So, last point of practical advice is this. No matter what journey you're on, how transitory or liminal your current state feels, do something small to make it better. I think too many of us suffer bad situations because we know they will be short-term. Indeed, our society tells us too often to just put up with short-term discomfort. Part of believing that the journey is more important than the destination is not actually accepting your current state. You should always be moving and changing. And often, there are small, simple things you can do to improve your life. And I want you to give yourself permission to make them. I am not suggesting extravagant expenses. I'm not saying be hedonistic. Instead, I'm suggesting that if you're going to be working a job short-term, it's still all right to find yourself a comfortable chair. If you cannot change big parts of your state right now, find the little things and improve them. I spent some 8 years not knowing if I'd ever have a career or not. I wrote 13 novels before I sold one. And around books 11 and 12, the journey started to feel very difficult. I know my parents who are here. They're over here somewhere. There they are, my wonderful parents. They were extremely supportive of me during this time, but they did keep calling, kind of concerned. How many books do you write before you have to find something else to do? This was around when Game of Thrones was first taking off as a book series, and editor after editor told me I should write my stories more like that. So imagine this scene. I'm there, I'm like, how do I get published? And they're like, you know that once-in-a-lifetime masterpiece created by an author, top of their game, whose fiction is done in an extremely different style from your own? Yeah? Just do that. Yeah, that's what they honestly just kept telling me. I wasn't very good at that kind of writing, it turned out. I won't bore you with the details, but as I was finishing my 12th novel, I started to wonder if this was my lot. To be always stretching for professional publication and never reaching it. For a time, that idea terrified me until I made a decision, something very small, but very important that changed my life. I decided to write because I loved writing. You're probably laughing at me. Of course you loved writing. You've written 12 novels, Brandon. But I still had to give myself permission to write what I wanted to write, to be the person I wanted to be. I would let myself write those things rather than the things others were telling me to write. And that day I liberated myself. Much like my friend who made the decision to go buy new clothing, I gave myself permission to improve my life in the way I best thought. I sat and I wrote what would become my most famous book, The Way of Kings. A book in which the central idea was loving the journey. Because sometimes we don't have any idea when the destination will arrive. And that, in truth, is life. We're all heading to the same place eventually. That grave could be tomorrow or in decades. And no matter what you think, every part of your life is going to be a transition of some sort. So my challenge to you on this wonderful day is to look and improve your life in some small way. Give yourself permission. When it works, write it down. And try your best to make and keep connections. In doing so, I hope you can truly enjoy this journey. And once you do, see if you can help some of your fellow travelers. If you know any introverted writer types, maybe drag them off to a slot canyon. Just make sure it isn't going to rain at the time. Class of 2023, I salute you. It is time at long last to take your next step. Turn the next page and begin the next chapter of your story. Journey before destination. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sanderson, for inspiring us with your words tonight, the life you've led, your creativity, energy, and very thoughtful advice. You're an extraordinary role model for our graduates and for myself. Your success is born from an innate gift that is amplified by consistent discipline, sacrifice, and hard work. We appreciate having you with us this evening as we celebrate the accomplishments of our students and what they will bring to our future world. Kara North, President of the Utah Valley University Alumni Association Board and a UVU trustee, now joins us to welcome the class of 2023 as alumni with a time-honored tradition.
Forever Wolverines, congratulations. As the Alumni Board President at Utah Valley University, I am thrilled to be here with you today to celebrate you. You did it. You made it through the late night study sessions, the grueling exams, and the occasional all-nighters, and you came out on top. As each of you in the class of 2023 discovers your future, what you will have learned here will travel with you, as will the relationships you have built while at Utah Valley University. I urge you to remember the importance of staying connected to your alma mater and the alumni community. We are here to help you achieve your goals. From business leaders and artists to scientists and social activists, our fellow Wolverines are changing the world. So let's make a pledge today, right now, to stay connected and to give back. Let's promise to support each other and to inspire each other and to make a difference. Tonight, you officially joined the ranks of the distinguished alumni of UVU's community. Graduate candidates, please rise. This is for you guys. As the duly appointed President of the Utah Valley University Alumni Association, I charge each of you, the graduating class of 2023, to uphold the values celebrated in the mission of this institution from which you have received your higher education. I encourage you to go forth from this ceremony as people who live and exemplify the core values of exceptional care, exceptional accountability, and exceptional results. I invite you to signify your willingness to uphold these values by each saying, "I will," in response to the following question. Graduates, will you accept the responsibility to live and exemplify UVU's core values? I will. One more time. I will. Therefore, on this, the 4th day of May, 2023, as President of the UVU Alumni Association, I officially declare that you, upon receiving your degrees through the proper authority of this institution, you join the ranks of tens of thousands of proud UVU alumni and will forever be Wolverines. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Kara. Graduates, I also officially welcome you to the ranks of UVU alumni. Remember, as such, you are always part of our campus community and are always welcome here. I would now like to invite my daughter, Michael, who is graduating this evening, to join me at the lectern, and you may sit down. In 1996, I became a mother for the first time. I already had a bachelor's degree from BYU, a master's from Harvard, and a PhD from MIT. I thought I was smart and parenting would be a breeze. My baby, Michael Francis Tumina Stolk, grew from a hyper-needy creature who brought us many delights to a fearless girl who wanted to try everything. Her dad and I tried to give her the very best education, travel, and life experiences. She graduated top of her class at Singapore American School and got accepted to Columbia University. New York, here she comes.
Columbia was a great place, but I felt a sense of discontent with the rather impersonal education I received there. The most significant things I learned were from outside the classroom, from the people I met, and from the experience of being in the city. I felt called to pursue something bigger. I was passionate about living sustainably, and at the time, growing all my own food and building my own shelter seemed like the best way to live in harmony with the earth. So I left school and spent the next 4 years traveling across Asia and North America, living, working, and apprenticing with farmers and homesteading families who were already doing what I wanted to do. I learned how to make compost, prune tomatoes, hoe and till garden beds, sell at farmers markets, and build houses from bamboo and mud. I went from being a militant vegan to learning how to kill chickens, gut fish, and butcher sheep. After growing up in international urban centers, learning how to work with my hands was a huge change and a satisfying one. Even though my mother's peasant relatives in the Philippines found my farming aspirations hilarious, it was important for me to experience the struggle of manual labor and the fulfillment that comes from building and nurturing the things that most literally sustain you.
When Michael became an itinerant farmer, I became unmoored. I felt fear for her safety, shame at my failed parenting, grief that she disconnected from family, and anger that she deviated from the linear road I envisioned for her. It was a dark time. I went into therapy. My therapist, you owe me, child. My therapist, a Christian like me, suggested that I get on my knees every morning and say, "Dear God, I bring you my anger, shame, despair, worry, disgust, and darkness. You are in charge," then walk away. I did that every day. Slowly, I learned to let go. I learned to trust God and my child and to respect my daughter's choices and, yes, her mistakes. I learned to be kinder to myself, knowing that I had done my best to be a good parent. But my child was on her own hero's journey, slaying her own monsters, achieving her own summits, and getting her own education.
While I thought my travels were preparing me to be a farmer, the actual education I received extended far beyond growing food. As I traveled, I lived and worked with families who were homesteading and farming, and spending that time with a diverse range of families allowed me to witness that no matter how idyllic your living situation is, no matter how much food you're growing, the quality of your relationships is what ultimately determines the quality of your life. Throughout most of the time I was traveling, I was also in a very turbulent relationship that engulfed many of my days in a dark cloud. I've realized since then that that relationship was my first graduate education, where I learned all the mistakes I could make in an intimate relationship. My observations of the power of relationship brought me back to formal education 6 years after I left Columbia, and last December I completed my bachelor's degree in family science here at UVU.
Yay!
Which allowed me to study the science and the practice of what makes relationships work. During that time, I also studied personal training, yoga instruction, life coaching, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, all of which funneled into a passion and a business helping others grow. This winding educational journey has taught me that life does not have to follow a linear, expected path. Leaving the path that was expected of me was often scary, but I learned to trust my heart, to trust that I could find a good reason for everything that happens, and to trust in the opportunities and insights that came my way, even if they were difficult or didn't fit my plans. I learned that relationships are everything, not just in terms of families, but also in terms of mentorship, friendship, and community. The most powerful thing you can do to educate yourself is to find people who are already doing what you want to do and spending as much time with them as possible. None of us has to do this alone, and there are so many people who care for you and would love to support you, so never hesitate to ask for help. As you move forward with your careers and your education, I invite you to reflect on your greatest pain, your greatest struggles, and the greatest obstacles you've overcome. Graduating from formal education today is a huge achievement, but don't forget that the hardships you've conquered in your personal life are also a central part of your education, and they may offer a hint at the greatest contributions you can give back to the world.
Tonight, as I look at my daughter, myself, and all of you graduates, I am so proud that we have ably navigated some intense journeys to be here in this moment of celebration. Graduates, celebrate your education and always be humble enough to keep learning. You have been mentored at UVU. You have earned your credentials. You have made friends and created memories for a lifetime. Each of you has ventured on your own hero's journey. Sometimes those who love you best may not understand this journey. Phone them. Talk to them, forgive them, and love them. As Michael said, the quality of our relationships is the most important thing in life. Be gentle with yourselves as well. The hero's journey is not linear, so forgive your mistakes and just keep going. Go forth from UVU knowing that you are strong, you are loved, and you are capable of many more amazing transformations and accomplishments. You have only just begun. Godspeed, Wolverines. Go Wolverines! She's going to be paying for my therapy. And now it is time for tonight's greatest purpose, the presentation of degrees. First for master's degree graduates, then for undergraduates. Dr. Wayne Vaught, Provost and Senior Vice President of Academic Affairs, will now join me as we present you the candidates for graduation.
Good evening, everyone. Who is excited to graduate tonight? And who's excited to watch someone graduate tonight? And we are all very excited for you. As I was walking over here tonight, I was thinking about how many commencements I have attended in my life. And if I counted up my own, those of family and friends that I've attended, all of those in my professional career, this is about the 50th commencement exercise that I've attended. And they're all incredibly special. And it remains one of my most favorite times of the academic year, in large part because this is our chance to recognize the accomplishments of our talented students and to celebrate along with family and friends the many, many years of hard work, sacrifice, and dedication that now allow these students to achieve a recognition that will remain forever theirs, the awarding of a college degree. Now, I'm going to ask the graduates just to do this one thing. The only thing that's standing between you and a college degree is your ability to follow a few simple instructions. And if you can follow these instructions tonight, you will become university graduates. If you don't, we do have another one next year. We'll send you information about that at another time. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and ask yourself this. What degree have I been working on for the past 4 or 5 or 6, several years? And as you think about that, please rise as I call your degree. I invite the candidates for the Master of Accountancy, the Master of Arts, the Master of Business Administration, the Master of Computer Science, Master of Education, Master of Public Administration, Master of Science in Cybersecurity, Master of Science in Nursing, and Master of Social Work degrees. Would you please rise? This is the tricky part. Please remain standing as I call the undergraduates who will now join you. With the candidates for the Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Fine Arts, Bachelor of Music, Bachelor of Science, and Bachelor of Social Work, would you please rise? Will the candidates for the Associate in Applied Science, Associate in Arts, Associate in Pre-Engineering, Associate in Science, Associate in Science in Business, and Associate in Science in Nursing, would you please rise? And now would all other candidates for any diplomas, certificates of proficiency, and certificates of completion also please stand? President Jimenez, on behalf of the faculty, I present the candidates for the master's, bachelor's, and associate's degrees, diplomas, and certificates. These candidates have completed all requirements for their respective degrees, diplomas, and certificates, and the faculty has approved their candidacy pursuant to the completion of their final requirements. President, I now recommend that the appropriate master's, bachelor's, and associate degrees and diplomas and certificates be awarded to them.
Candidates, you have fulfilled all the requirements for the appropriate master's, bachelor's, and associate degrees, diplomas, and certificates, and have been recommended by the faculty for graduation. By virtue of the authority vested in me as president of Utah Valley University by the people of Utah, through the representatives in the legislature and on the Utah Board of Higher Education, and on the recommendation of the faculty of Utah Valley University and its Board of Trustees, I hereby confer upon you the appropriate degree, diploma, or certificate which entitles you to all rights, privileges, and honors thereto pertaining. You may now move your tassels from the right to the left side of your mortar board. All right. Class of 2023, please be seated. We thank all those who arranged your convocations today and tomorrow and who arranged this commencement ceremony. Special thanks to the Utah Valley University Wind Symphony for the processional and recessional music, and the Payson Pipe and Drum Band for contributing to our celebration with bagpipes. Thank you. Thank you to everyone who has joined us tonight for this memorable event. Let us give all our graduates one more round of applause. One last thing. We are now going to send the class of 2023 with a big bang. Congratulations!
Please remain seated as our platform guests begin the recessional. We invite our graduates to join the recessional. This concludes the commencement of Utah Valley University's class of 2023. Go Wolverines!